Fateh Arza ji, Sat Sri Akal. Fateh is victory in the war against oppression. So Shabad today is from Ank, that is page 151 of Sri Guru Granth Sahib. And title of the Shabad is Peh dharat, that is fear. Now fear is most important word in relation to God or name of God. We are not to recite the name of God. That is only net practice. Our objective is to win the World Cup, not to win in the net practice. So winning the World Cup is being remembering the name of God for being afraid of doing evil. That is the World Cup. So ਪੈ ਬਿਨ ਕੋਇ ਨਾ ਲੰਘਸੀ ਪਾਰ. Peh is fear. Peh means fear. Bin means sans. Without. Without fear. Without fear of doing evil. It is that fear. There are two types of fear mentioned in this Shabad. That is why. Koi na. Koi means any. Na means not. It means nobody. None. Langsi goes. Par is across. Without fear, nobody can cross the ocean of illusion. So Langsi Par means to swim across the ocean of illusion. This word Langsi Par or ocean or Bhavsagar or sea of illusion, this is mentioned many times in scriptures. So why it is sea of illusion? It is called sea of Maya. So Maya is illusion. So illusion is of what? It is of lust, greed, ego. Those five things, lust, greed, ego, anger, affection. When we do not know optimum user of these five evils, lust, greed, ego, affection, and anger, then we are entrapped in this sea of illusion, sea of Maya, and we cannot swim across. When we come to know, after following the teachings and after following the guidance of scriptures, we come to know about optimum user of lust, greed, ego, affection, and anger. Then it is called that, it is stated that we are swimming across, we are able to swim across the sea of illusions. And what is this? So that these five evils do not become our weakness, rather, they become our quality. That is by listening to the voice of your own mind. When you listen to the voice of your own mind, you do not get entrapped in the illusion of lust, greed, ego. That is excessive or wrongful lust, greed, ego. Rather, you know that what is optimum use of this lust, greed, ego, affection, and anger. As for example, anger against injustice is very good anger, but anger against weak or poor, it is bad anger. That is illusion. So we are to listen to the voice of our own mind, that is conscience, in relation to five evils. Same lust, greed, ego, affection, and anger. Peh pao rakhya, pae swar. Peh means fear. Pao again fear. Repeated. Rakhya means keeps or did. Verb. Adverb. Pae means love. Peh, pae. Peh is fear. Pae is love. Or pao sometimes it is called. Swar means adorned, as females do makeup. Adorned. This line says the fear adorns our human beings' love for God. When we are afraid of God, that is, we are afraid of doing evil, then it is considered that we are in love with the God or God is in love with us. Same thing. So fear adorns love, love of God from either side. So how it becomes love of God or our love for God when we listen to the sound of our own mind, conscient, and we start relishing. When we start relishing after listening to the voice of mind, it is stated that we are in proper love for God or God is in proper love for us. ਪੈ ਤਨ ਅਗਨ ਰਾਖੇ ਪੈ ਨਾਲ ਪੈ ਤਨ ਅਗਨ. It is the factum of common knowledge that all the life we live under fear. When we live under fear, the fire burns in our body. Peh, fear, tan, body, agan, fire. Rakhe, burns, peh, fear, naal, along. Now, in this line, there are two types of fear. One is that, second is this. This is bad fear. That fear under which we live. Peh, tan, agan. When we live our life under fear, a fire continues in our body. That is, we are in pain. We do suffer. Rakhe means burns, but that fear, bad fear, which makes our life full of pain and suffering, that is burned by pa nal. This is fear of doing evil or fear of God. We are to remember the God for fear of doing evil only, to be afraid of doing evil for nothing else. So this fear, good fear, burns all the bad fears, all other fears. No, this is very beautiful. You just imagine this thing. Only one fear, fear of doing evil, you are to follow, and all other fears will be burned, will wither away, will end, shall be erased. So, fire of fear in body, same thing I explained, is burnt by fear, fear of doing evil, and all other fears. So, this is very beautiful fear. It is one fear which burns our all other fears. All other fears means all other sufferings. When there is no fear, there is no suffering in life. You know it. ਭੈ ਭਾਉ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਭੈ ਭਾਉ ਘੜੀਏ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਬਦ ਸਵਾਰ. ਭੈ fear, ਭਾਉ again fear, ਘੜੀਏ crafts, makes, Shabad. Shabad is word. Shabad Guru, the word of scriptures. Sawar means adorn. So fear crafts, molds, makes better or makes best the Shabad. That is, when we are under the fear of doing evil, we are afraid of doing evil, then we are able to understand the teaching of Shabad Guru properly. Fear crafts and adorns the word Shabad Guru. We are able to understand what Gurbani means or what religious scriptures do tell us to do or not to do. So for that, we are to listen to the sound of our own mind, that is conscience. In that manner, when we start listening to the conscience or listening to the sound of mind, it is stated that we are able to understand the meaning of Shabad Guru or the teachings of the scriptures. Pੈ ਬਿਨ ਘਾੜਤ ਕੱਚ the ਕੱਚ. It is in continuation of this line. fear, bad fear. No, good fear. Fear of doing evil. Bin means sans or without. If we are not afraid of doing evil, then kadat, crafted. Whatever we make, whatever we craft, it is crafting our own life, nothing else. That is kach, nikach. Kach is brittle. It is anti-word for pakka. Pakka is which breaks not. Kach is kacha is which breaks. Nikach is nira kacha, only brittle, which breaks at first instance. So kach, nikach, brittle, only brittle. Without fear, good fear. Crafted thing is brittle, only brittle. It means without the fear of doing evil, our deeds are unsustainable. Those are brittle, breakable. That means we are not able to relish life. That is. We are to craft nothing in our life but our own life. So these are symbolic words. Anda sacha, andi sat. Anda is blind, sacha is mold. Andi means blind, sat is stroke of hammer. So when we are not afraid of doing evil, what we do with our life? We craft our life in such a wrongful manner that our mold becomes blind, in which we craft the thing, that thing is life. And strokes are also blind. How we make a thing? We took a mold, die, in which liquid metal is poured, and then we put another die on it, and then we give a stroke with the hammer, and then a proper thing is crafted. So here crafted thing is nothing else but our own life, meaning way to relish life. That thing is spoiled because blind mold and blind strokes means our deeds become directionless. When our deeds are directionless, not proper, or blind, we suffer. We do not relish. That is so simple. Again, very beautiful line. I think it is the key line of the Shabad. Dar kar dar, dar jai. Dar is fear, good fear. Kar is home. Kar is our mind. Home is home of God. Kar dar, home, fear. In the home, when there is fear of when we are afraid of doing evil, fear of doing evil. Dar jai, then bad fear. Bad fear is every other fear in life. Dar jai. Fear goes. When we put fear of doing evil in our mind where God lives, which is the home of the God, then every other fear goes away, gets away, erased, ended. So life, we start relishing life. That is the ultimate goal. That is the only goal of scriptures. You know it. Fear in mind's fear gets afraid. So one fear makes every other fear to be afraid of. Fear of doing evil puts an end to all our fears. So this is very beautiful line. Dar kar, fear in mind, kar dar. Mind's fear, dar jaye. Fear is afraid of and ends, is erased, all other fears. So dar keha, jit dar paye. Babaji exclaims, so means that fear, good wala fear. Dar fear, keha, what? What type of fear is that? Good fear. Jit dar, jit means of which, dar means fear. Fear of which, what type of fear is that? Fear of which, dar pai. All other fears are erased. Dar is afraid, is, pai is, or are. What type of fear is that? Out of fear of which all other fears get afraid of. They run out of your life. So, what kind of fear is that? By fear of which fear itself, or fears, rather fears, get afraid of and run out of your life. So, this is just exclamatory sentence. Tud bin dujji nahi jaye. Tud is you, it is referred to God. Bin means sans or without. Dujji means second, other. Nahi means not. Jai means place. We have got, we human beings, no second place to rely upon. To rely upon for what? To relish the life. So, no other place to rely upon means only name of God is required, and only name of God can make our life happy. And name of God is listening to sound of your own mind where God lives. So that is listening to the voice of conscience and relishing. So only reliance is name of God for becoming afraid of doing evil, for nothing else. जो किछ वर्ते सब तेरी रजाए. Jo means what, kich means ever, whatever, varte happens, sab all, teri your, it is referred to God. Rajai means wish. Whatever happens in the universe is all your wish. So it is a method of stating that everything happens under the wish of the God, or everything is destiny. It is not in our control. It is virtually philosophy of Sikhism, hukam or pana. That is, we are to, when something is inevitable, here read it something. Something is inevitable. Inevitable is which cannot be undone, and which could not be prevented by me despite making best efforts. That is inevitable. Nothing else remains with us but to enjoy it. That is accepting the destiny with a happy heart. Enjoy the inevitable because we cannot do anything. We cannot undo it. We could not prevent it despite making best effort. So, only thing remains with us is to enjoy, to take it with a happy heart, the destiny. Darye je dar hove hoor. It is darye. We are to be afraid of. Je, if. Dar, fear. Hove is, hor, other. We are to be afraid of. Babaji says, do not be afraid of. If you are afraid of doing evil, then do not be afraid of anything else. So, we are to afraid of if there is any other fear but of God. This is the meaning of this line. We should be afraid of if there is any other fear. There is only one fear in the world, in the universe. That is fear of God. And fear of God is for becoming afraid of doing evil. When we start entertaining the fear of doing evil, no other fear is to be entertained. This is stated here. डर डर डरना मन का शोर. Dar is fear, डरना, to be afraid of. Man, mind, ka, the, shor is noise. Again, same thing. Babaji states, if you are afraid of doing evil, you are not to be afraid of anything else. And despite being afraid of doing evil, if still you are afraid of, that is false fear. Dar dar darna. To be afraid of fear. Man ka shor. It is noise of the mind only. It is not in existence actually. Once you are afraid of doing evil, you are not to be afraid of anything else. And still, if you are afraid of, that is sure, noise only, not in reality. So these were two shabads in fact. First was pair. Second shabad was dar. Meaning of both the words is the same. Fear. So conclusion of these two shabads on page Ank 151 is without fear, nobody can cross the ocean of illusion, that is Pavasagar. That is the pain given to us by lust, greed, ego. When these five evils give us pain, we are drowning in that ocean. When we know what is the optimum user of these five evils, then it is stated that we are swimming across that ocean of illusion, Pavasagar. And fear adorns love. When we become afraid of doing evil, that is proper definition of our love for God or is the symbol of love of God for us. Same thing, both ways. Fear is burnt when we are afraid of doing evil. All other fears of life are burnt, are erased, are ended, and we start relishing. When we are not afraid of doing evil, then our acts are directionless. We become blind. We don't know what to do. So fear is afraid of fear. So this is the conclusion. When we are afraid of doing evil, all other fears of our life come to an end and we start relishing. How? Because we remember the name of God. For what? For being afraid of doing evil. That is what? Listening to the voice of your mind. Before doing anything, we are to ask our conscience or our own mind whether this act is good or bad. And mind replies, this is bad. And we become afraid of doing it. So that is the way of life. That is the key to relish life. So now the tagline. Start listening to the voice of your own cool mind, that is conscience, and start relishing. Start relishing. This is the key to relish. Fateh Arza ji, Sat Sri Akal.